Welcome to Tone Talks. Welcome to Tone Talks. Welcome to Tone Talks. What up, everybody? This is Antonio Moore coming to you from Tone Talks. I'm looking forward to having a good conversation today. I'm going to talk about everything from Boseman's passing, condolences to his family, to going back to Black Panther, unpacking some things. I got a chance to rewatch it, and I just want to give my last opinion on the film. But I also want to talk about Wakanda City, Akon City. Is it real? You know, I done went in the rabbit hole because of y'all. And we done went through LeVar Ball and Jay Morrison. I'm not seeing it, y'all. And I'm going to unpack why I don't see it. I don't understand why people are talking about it. We are not. Look, Africa isn't a place. It is a continent. Those are not states inside of a country. It is a continent. He is from Senegal. He's basically pulling, to me, Akon through the lostness of the ADOS, like Black American, trying to call Africa a home for us, and trying to detach us from the reality of our present, like, moment and reality of needing to demand for reparations. I want to get into the conversation about it all. I want to talk to y'all. I want to give y'all my opinion on it. I'm not saying I have the utmost, like, lasting opinion. You welcome to disagree. I look forward to seeing in the comments. But we gonna get into it. But when you disagree, you better have some facts, some data, and some reasoning. Let's talk. So we right into the discussion. When I look over here, I'm looking at the chat and YouTube. I want to have about 2,000-3,000 people live. I want to get this video to about 50,000 views so that we can get this message across the whole interweb. Let's have this discussion in a productive way. Also, please support the super chat. Support my channel, super chat meaning on YouTube. Donate to the channel, and on Patreon. My Patreon is Tone Talks, or go to tonetalks.org. So let's just start off by giving condolences to Chadwick Boseman. Chadwick Boseman was a phenomenal talent and actor. He passed, I believe, a week ago now. I'm going to read a little something on that. Not only did he play T'Challa in Black Panther, but he also played James Brown. He also played Thurgood Marshall. He also played Jackie Robinson. He played a number of Black heroes. One of the things that I found interesting over the last week is that everybody acts like they've seen all those movies in the theaters. So I can honestly say I saw 3 of those 4 movies in the theaters. I want to know if you did, because you're talking like you've seen all of them. I'm not talking about seeing Black Panther 3 or 4 times. I'm talking about seeing all those movies in the theaters and supporting this talent that you're crying over now. So I also say, I think this all comes down to, like, Black Panther. You know, Chadwick was a phenomenal actor, but how many of y'all saw the James Brown story more than once? How many of y'all watched Jackie Robinson all the way through more than once? How many of y'all are really just talking about Black Panther and the nostalgia and the effect? And you just got to be honest about that, because if it comes down to that, we can have an honest discussion. Now, I'm not saying there aren't a few of you out there that really love James Brown, because he did a phenomenal job as James Brown. I would argue he did a better job as James Brown than even T'Challa, because while T'Challa, his performance, I have to say, was a phenomenal one, the James Brown performance required so much more. But, you know, and it's funny, I remember going to the Magic Johnson Theater, and it was like a musical, because this lady got up and just started, she made her own performance, and didn't nobody tell the management or nothing. That's ADOS life. So I'm saying all this because we have a lot of people talking and masking their lack of knowledge of his body of work inside of a need to mourn, grieve, and everything else. We've seen it. We went through Nipsey Hussle and with Kobe Bryant. Now we have Boseman. Again, condolences to his family. I want to say that from my view, I didn't see the Thurgood Marshall film that Reggie Hudlin did. I don't know how many people actually did, but I seen the other films, and I just say this guy, he was really a good actor. And I recently just even seen 21 Bridges and The Five Bloods. I think that's Spike Lee's movie. I've seen him in like at least 8 movies myself. So as we get into this discussion, we go back. Black Panther star Chadwick Boseman dies at 43. Boseman has battled colon cancer since 2016 and died at home with his family and wife by his side. According to a statement posted on his Twitter account, he was 43, a true fighter. Chadwick persevered through it all and brought you so many of the films you have come to love so much, the statement said. From Marshall to The Five Bloods, August Wilson's Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, and several more. With his role as King T'Challa in the boundary-breaking film Black Panther, he became a global icon and an inspiring symbol of Black power. A South Carolina native, Boseman graduated in 2000 from Howard University, a historical black college in D.C., and he also attended British American Drama Academy at Oxford in '98. The Boseman breakout performance, of course, was Jackie Robinson, the 42 film. And so, this guy, as you start to unpack it, had a phenomenal effect on those around him, and I think he's going to be sorely missed. As I look at Chadwick Boseman and his starring in Black Panther, and we start to look back at him and start to really critically evaluate his performance in a number of films, but most importantly, of course, Black Panther. I think it was underrated, his performance. I watched it a second time, and there's almost a conundrum for the Black American experience of Black Panther, because so much of what you see is built on a total misunderstanding of Jack Kirby, where he got the Black Panther figure, which is Louds County, Alabama. He got the Black Panther figure from the same place I believe that the Black Panthers actually came from. He got it out of Louds County and kind of grew it from there. It is quintessentially our character, but then not written that way as ADOS. But also what people don't understand is, I don't know if Jack Kirby was knowledgeably making disrespectful innuendos inside of the character, but I just know when you dig this character out, we might be the vibranium. What do I mean? So the only black king that was protected by women was the Benin king. We're unpacking some stuff we talked about before. But the Benin king primarily traded slaves. They've apologized for that. So the Dora Milaje in the Black Panther movie are largely casted out of slave traders. The women that you dressed your daughter up as, or you celebrated, or that Viola Davis is about to play, they were slave traders. They were part of an industry of trading black bodies, our black bodies, into the ocean. Okay. So when a film comes out, I don't know how, no matter how good it is, if that's what it's built out of, if we are the vibranium, I don't know if we can celebrate it. And I think that's the conundrum of the movie. So now let's dig into, through the second watch, how I felt about it versus the first one. So looking at it the second time, let me say this. I'm glad Ava DuVernay didn't get to do the film. Ryan Coogler, Michael B. Jordan, Chadwick Boseman, even Kendrick Lamar with the music. To their jobs, they executed what they needed to do. They wrote a film about the American black experience through this lens of Africanness in a general sense. Now, one of the things that I see as an interesting part is it is a quintessentially ADOS film. I don't know if everybody really understands that. What do I mean? Africa isn't a place. So you have Acho, the guy that's Nigerian. You have, who we'll talk about, Akon, who's Senegalese. You have people inside of Africa trying to take this out of the narrative of the people who created it, meaning Coogler and Boseman. I know a lot of people have been looking at Boseman talking about Yoruba and all that. Now his daddy named Leroy, as I understand. Out of Michael B. Jordan, all these men, these ADOS men created this product. And they created it in a petri dish, in a kind of mishmashing of all kind of parts of Africa, from the top to the bottom. Even the costume designer was talking about it. So you have us projecting an identity kind of like struggle through this film that we weren't allowed to celebrate because Africans decided it was going to be theirs. So when you look at this film and you unpack it, you see this narrative. Of course, on the first watch, Killmonger seems like the villain. But when you actually start looking at the film and you pull it out some more, there is a narrative of questions of who is the villain between T'Challa and Killmonger and all of the, especially when you start understanding Boseman's role and creating language. As I understand it, he created that last line about, I'd rather be thrown in the ocean. We'll talk about that in a second, that Killmonger did. There was a whole thing about Killmonger initially being buried in Wakanda. You have Boseman getting with Ryan Coogler early on to hone this film in the image of an ADOS struggle of identity. So this is the thing about Black Panther. I think that the problem of the plate of Africa is that it, in a sense, demented and made people confused about the fact that this is about African Americans. And when I say that, I'm talking about ADOS and the struggle. And then in addition, I think by it having to be a comic book, and this is just the limitation of both what was already written, and then also in addition, how far you can go with the word slavery and everything else, is you don't deal with the fact that we're first West Africans. This is an East African country, but in addition, we were sold here. So, in a figurative sense, if you're gonna own Wakanda, if as Acho or Akon you're gonna own that, what does it mean? Not that you were taken, but that you were sold, and you might be the vibranium. If you don't do that corner, I don't know if you've done justice to the whole narrative of what. And you can't softball it just because people are gonna get offended if it's the truth. That's the history. Go read My Great Grandfather, the Nigerian Slave Trader. Go read the history. To the extent that people have released it, everybody knows. So I just kind of unpack that, and I look at this story, and I again say the job that Boseman did, because we all celebrated Killmonger so much that we got lost in that Boseman was also, as an ADOS man, creating that contrast, that main line of story, the Black Panther himself, in the lens of understanding how flawed the Black Panther character was. And I think when I look at his performance, he definitely accomplished that from, it was, and then it was interesting even like how, and I don't know if Black women, ADOS women really saw this component they disappeared, y'all. So what do I mean? So we got the visual of T'Challa's mama, Angela Bassett, also ADOS. But we got no visual on Killmonger's mama. She was not in the film. ADOS might as well not have been part of his bloodline. And I just think that, those are the tragedies of this film, to not pull that out. And I don't want her to be no wayward mama. I want her to be a Black mama like the Black mamas that I know that tried hard, whether they knew what they were doing or not, whether they had the resources or not. I needed her in the film, and it just wasn't there. And I just feel for ADOS women, I don't know how you personally can celebrate this film without acknowledging how you were erased. So we're looking at this thing, and I got an article here. Black Panther is not the movie we deserve. Great article by a guy named Christopher LeBron, I believe a Black man. Black Panther, a movie unique for its Black star power, depends on a shocking devaluation of Black American men. Wakanda is a fictional nation in Africa. This is an important section because I'm going to revert back to this, and you need to understand this in context of Akon City, which is being built on top of tourism, as I understand, and it don't make no sense because that's just not Wakanda. Wakanda is a fictional nation in Africa, a marvel beyond all marvels. Its stupendous wealth and technological advancement reach beyond anything the folks in MIT labs could dream of. The source of all this wonder is vibranium, a substance miraculous in ways that the movie does not bother to explain. But so far as we understand it, it is a potent energy source, as well as unmatched raw material. A meteor rich in vibranium crashed long ago into the land that would become Wakanda, making the country so powerful that the terrors of colonialism and imperialism passed it by. Using technology to hide its good fortune, the country plays the part of a third world poor nation. In reality, it thrives, and its isolationist policies protect it from anti-Black racism. And so he goes on by now. So viewers have two radical imaginings in front of them: an immensely rich and flourishing advanced African nation that is sealed off from white colonialism and supremacy, and then a few Black Wakandans with a vision of a global Black solidarity who are determined to use Wakanda's privilege to emancipate all the Black people. So this is this particular author's perception of everything. And in some ways, I definitely see what he's saying. And I think that, what's interesting about this whole dynamic is when I say we're the vibranium, if we are to accept, as we understand it, that the only Black king, and I'm saying Jack Kirby, this white man, writes this movie, it's not beyond him to build this into it as a subtle joke that we never understood. If the only black king to ever be protected by women was the Benin king, and he traded slaves, that was this resource that was ever growing. Us. How's that different than the vibranium that made Wakanda? Isn't it the vibranium that makes Wakanda? How are we celebrating that? That is the conundrum I think that Black America missed in trying to be and being pushed into a narrative about Africa. Understand again, people in Africa don't say I'm African. They say I'm whatever tribe, Igbo, Yoruba, whatever tribe. If at best they say the country, this idea, when you see Akon, he going to Senegal. Don't get me wrong, he do some little stuff and he going to Senegal, a country. I'll talk about it in a second because they try to make us believe that Africa, a whole continent, is a country because then it's a doorway for them to play on our lostness. 400 years we've been oppressed, sold here, and our lostness becomes a doorway to oppress us in all kind of new ways. And so, finishing on this article, in the end, all comes down to a contest between T'Challa and Killmonger that can only be read one way. In a word marked by racism, a man of African nobility must fight his own blood relative whose goal is the global liberation of blacks. The fight takes a shocking turn. T'Challa lands a fatal blow on Killmonger, lodging a spear in his chest, as the movie uplifts the African noble at the expense of the Black American man. Every crass principle of modern black respectability politics upheld. Killmonger isn't a hero or villain so much as a receptacle for the tropes of inner city gangsterism. So, my read is, looking at it the second time, there's more layers to Killmonger than that. I think we gotta accept also that it is a Marvel film, but I do see his point. All in all, I will say that Michael B. Jordan, Ryan Coogler, Kendrick Lamar with that All the Stars, and particularly Chadwick Boseman with how he molded this character, they delivered. But the question is, what did they deliver? And also, was it clear enough that it was delivered for ADOS folks? Because this was the struggle of the film, and it was built out of our issues, our struggles. It wasn't, as much as everybody tries to project to me that it's about all this, it wasn't that. It started in Oakland, the opening scene. In addition, I got this other article, Black Superheroes Matter, Why a Black Panther Movie is Revolutionary. It was by Rolling Stone. It came out before the film. And in this piece, they had so many things going on. An entire generation of children will not know what it feels like to not see themselves reflected back on costume racks, coloring books, or movie screens. We're at a pivotal time where these characters and stories are coming out, not out of permission or obligation, but necessity. This is identity politics. This is the quintessential reality of seeing T'Challa as Obama. I mean, what good is seeing yourself if it ain't you? Let me say it again. So what good is seeing, let me say it this way. We're ADOS people in America, and not just here like in one lifetime. In 1850, the ADOS people that were here were 3rd to 5th generation. It's now 2020, so double that. We're easily 6th to like 9th generation Americans. Good, bad, and indifferent. What are we talking about when we talk about a Senegalese man in Akon or a Nigerian man in Acho? What obligation do they have to our group if they want to speak to our group or for our group? What limitations do they have? And I think one of the things that you see here is because of this identity politics, they don't know that they have a whole set of them, and that maybe they can't even meet those needs and desires, and they just got to speak for Senegalese people. That's fine. Or they just got to speak for Nigerian people. Whatever number that are here, or whether we care whether whatever voice is coming, that's who you speak for. And so, Chadwick Boseman himself went on to say that T'Challa is the enemy in an interview. Chadwick Boseman says T'Challa is the enemy in Black Panther. There have been media takes discussing how Black Panther protagonist T'Challa sends a bleak message to black viewers by killing his rival. The message, some critics say, is that black liberation is only a dream and only obedient. Peaceful folks can expect tolerance and survival. In this reading of the film, that makes T'Challa the enemy, and Chadwick Boseman, the actor who plays T'Challa, agrees. I actually am the enemy. These are the words of Chadwick Boseman during an interview. He says during a discussion with castmate Lupita Nyong'o and Marvel Comics writer and journalist Ta-Nehisi Coates at Harlem's Apollo Theater on Tuesday, "It's the enemy I've always known. It's power, it's having privilege." He characterizes T'Challa as born with a vibranium spoon in his mouth. Well, let me say something a little different. If we're the vibranium, what if you're just born with a slavery spoon in your mouth? And I'm saying these are the conundrums and the questions that we didn't really understand about what was going on because of who the Dora Milaje were, who was the vibranium, all the narratives. Let's talk. This reading of T'Challa as born into a higher caste, while Killmonger and his father are considered outsiders, is significant. Killmonger and his father, N'Joju, are essentially shut out from Wakanda's Afrofuturistic utopia because they want to share it and extend its freedoms to other people of color around the globe instead of hiding the country's prosperity. Again, no mention of his ADOS mother being Killmonger. Killmonger would be ADOS through his mother. Killmonger didn't just skip from being a kid in that apartment to being that grown man that we seen. He had a mother that raised him, an ADOS mother. So I wanted to just touch on that before I get to the second part of the show. And I wanted to kind of go through and give my condolences, but also give one last kind of overview of Black Panther. My hope is that they don't do a Black Panther 2. Allow that body of work to sit on its own. You know they got to try to squeeze every last dollar. So we'll never know if they do. But I don't believe that they should recast T'Challa. I do believe that as it stands, you know you're going to show that film to your child if you at your own decision, but you owe an obligation to really understand what you're showing your child and what the dangers and the realities are. And also, let's get away from this whole idea of Africa, because it's not a country. It's a continent. It's a continent with a bunch of countries in it, 52 I believe. Vastly different setup than here in terms of the tribalism and the disassociation and the separateness. And I just think that this oneness that we've created here that isn't there creates a very fundamental problem for how we make a mystical narrative around blackness, and we allow for a place like Wakanda in all of its fantastical projections to exist that can't exist in reality. That brings me right to Akon. So, Akon, he done talked a lot in the last month about African Americans, and we just need to forget. Again, this is a Senegalese man. I don't know his familial role in the slave trade. I don't know what was going on, but I just know you're not ADOS and you had no right speaking about what we need to do. I don't speak about what Senegalese people need to do in terms of any kind of colonialism, and I will request that you don't speak about ADOS anymore, and particularly not to DJ Vlad about us, because there's a whole set of confusion there where essentially he's trying to, I believe, weaponize these talents, these celebrities, to create messaging around ADOS. Nah, stop, bro. Just do your celebrity, what happened on the Friday movie set kind of stuff. Lead this to us. And so you have this singer Akon is building a futuristic crypto city called Akon City in Africa. This is New York Post. Is pop idol Akon building Wakanda? Akon announced on his social media channels on Monday, this is January of 2020, that he is building a city of the future in Africa. Just finalized the agreement for Akon City. Pause for a second. I don't even know if we understand the narcissism to call this Akon City. In all the names, in all the places, if nothing is more of a reflection of the difference of us as ADOS and Akon and whatever he came from and whatever he's dealing with, it's the fact that he named this Akon City. There are so many other powerful ways to pay tribute to the people there. Because as I understand it, you grew up here, and even if you grew up there, there are people there. But that's okay. You're going to call it Akon City and run around and put your name on everything. Akon announced on his social media channels on Monday that he is building a city of the future in Africa. Just finalized the agreement for Akon City in Senegal. Looking forward to hosting you there in the future. This don't sound like Wakanda. I want you to understand, because we're going to unpack this thing. Because I think we get confused sometimes. He done shown us a lot of renderings, but ain't no numbers, ain't no specificity, ain't no timelines. The timelines are real, like, general. He done missed deadlines already. But again, Wakanda was built on being self-contained, self-controlling. That's not what Akon is building. As I understand it, he won't really tell us totally where this money coming from, this supposed $6 billion. But what we can assert, what we can pull out, is this is Chinese money. So in the end, this is a form of like a neo-colonialism where instead of selling to white folk, you're going to basically be in debt to Chinese to build this thing. That's not Wakanda. I don't care if you build the exact same city. That is not Wakanda. Because when we pull out all of the receipts and who owns it, what we going to find is that Chinese own Akon City. And T'Challa and his sister and whoever else owns Wakanda. In all of its figurative presentation. Akon City, which was authorized by Senegal's state-owned Sapco tourism company, will be a understand who authorized this city. Senegal state-owned Sapco tourism company. So a tourism place authorized this crypto city being built. So it's a tourist location. Okay. Wakanda was isolationist and it was black contained, and it was this beacon of reality of a presentation that black people can run their own city and not need. But this is tourism. For money, residents will use a cryptocurrency known as Akon. The city, a 5-minute drive outside of Dakar, will be built as a global ecotourism destination. Senegal's tourism ministry said the singer wanted to build a sustainable ecotourism village that would campaign for the environment. Akon City shall run entirely on renewable energy through the artist's solar power project, Akon Lighting Africa. And Akon Lighting Africa is entirely funded by Chinese. So we right back to the same square. So we got 1,100 people in the box. I want to give everybody a chance to speak on it. Somebody called this Akon Beijing. Akon is a mediocre. Amina said Akon is a mediocre marketer. He'll get his bag and move on to the next hustle. Mua said tourism company shaking my head. Joe Black said it's a year of a return theme park. We got a lot of people. We got a lot of. Akon admitted to Vlad he took out a line of credit with China. Okay, he admitted it to Vlad, whatever. Miss Kelly said Vlad and Boyce gonna be the only visitors. Yeah, because remember the year to return in Ghana, and me and Yvette was the only ones that told y'all that didn't make no sense. Now we hear it don't make no sense. COVID hit. A lot of people got stuck. A lot of stock chickens wouldn't get refunded. I'm just saying. Let's talk. So Akon just unveiled his $6 billion futuristic city in Senegal. The reviews are mixed. I want the buildings to look like real African sculptures that they make in the villages. I don't know what expertise, other than being a rapper, that he has to say what the building should look like. I'm going to talk about it in a second because some architecture said that it don't make no sense, the rendering he showed y'all, given the realities of the temperatures and everything else in Senegal. But he did it anyway. I just want him to build one glass building and just show that to us. Build one building and show us the finished building. And I need it done soon. I don't want to hear no more promotional tours. See, he doing this like an album. See, with an album, you don't really got nothing but 16 songs on there. And you can kind of start promoting it with 3 songs done. And you just slap it together and put it out. This is a city, you said. So You running around and then invested whoever PR firm to push this, and it's not real. So you're going to use the PR to make it real. And part of that PR is to confuse these ADOS people I'm trying to convince to understand reparations and a black agenda. I don't need you in this space. There is no reason for American media during a presidential cycle to be spending time during COVID covering Senegalese potential. Can we talk? Can I get to it? I want you to understand it is irrelevant what is going on in Senegal. At every level. What I need you to understand is they don't want to talk about U.S. reparations. They rather talk about Akon and his weird city that don't make a lot of sense. Let's talk. I'm just building it out now. We just building it out. We talking and we walking through this thing because I've seen a lot of buildings and they didn't look structurally sound. Senegalese officials applauded Akon's vision at a time when the coronavirus pandemic has throttled the nation's economy, stalling investment and crushing jobs. I bet they do want somebody to come over there and tour. Tourism was hit especially hard in the country of nearly 16 million, which strives to leverage its glittering Atlantic shores. A 4-month airport closure followed by border restrictions that now allow mostly citizens and residents to enter has cast adrift many workers here, whose average wages are really low. Okay. We can show to the rest, and I'm sharing this article with you, Akon just unveiled his $6 billion futuristic city in Senegal. The reviews are mixed. We can show the rest of the world that Senegal is a destination despite the impact of COVID. That Africa, so now we're going to switch from Senegal to Africa. I want you to understand that that's not how they speak in Africa. And I'm saying this because I've been to Africa. Africa is not a country. They know it, but they know we don't know it. So they just going to try to take credit for all of Africa until you realize that it is part of a con. And anytime you're talking to somebody coming from Africa, if they're not talking about a country or a tribe and they start talking that all Africa thing, they playing with you. Period. That Africa is a land of opportunity. Come on, bro. Akon cited the experiences of black Americans as his inspiration. He wanted to create an upscale refuge for them. He said, a home that could help connect people from with African ancestry to their roots. Again, we were sold from Africa. We were sold. That's just massive slave-holding prisons on the beach, castles, and we were sold. Here we are. No kind of vetting of what is your role in that selling. What was your family's role? We just gonna roll on this idea of going home, and then we're not gonna deal with how many of us have Senegalese blood in our line versus Ghanaian versus Nigerian. I'm just saying. I'm just breaking it down. So the system back home treats them unfairly. This is Akon talking about us. He talking about us, right? The system back home treats them unfairly. I want you to hear this. In so many different ways that you can never imagine. And they go through it because they feel that there is no other way. So Akon's going to give us another way. He's building a tourist city. We don't have no wealth because we were sold. Bottom half of the race worth less than $1, negative $200 billion. Small amount of wealth is all in the boomer hands, but he building us a city, and 95 to 99% of ADOS people have never even been to Africa. Sometimes they ain't even been on a plane, in some cases. But let me tell you it even more specifically. Let's get to it. I want you guys to understand this from a real level. Let's talk about Senegalese citizenship. Because Akon's telling us about tourism. I ain't heard him tell us, is he going to go to the government, not the tourists, but I don't want nobody coming out of the tourist office. He got his whole city out of the tourist office. I want to know, are you going to go to the government and ask them to give us Citizenship Plus for what happened to us? What does that mean? That means we get to be citizens of Senegal and also plus some reparations. If you're not talking about that, you're not talking about home. Because that's what I think of when I talk about home, bro. So let's get into the citizenship and not talk just theoretically. Senegal citizenship. You know that in America, we did justice to everybody. Through our bodies, our blood, we created birthright citizenship. It was built for the slave and it was extended out to everyone else. That is how most, like these people are becoming citizens, through the fact that when you're born here, you're an American citizen. But ADOS did it one step further. We gave them citizenship plus. So when your baby, like Acho, is born here, we allow your child to fold into ADOSness and be able to get an ESPN job talking about Emmett Till. We allow him to write a book and we go support it. We gave you citizenship plus, and we didn't even talk about whether your family sold slaves, Acho. But let's talk about what they're going to do for us in Senegal. Akon is telling us to go to Senegal because it's Wakanda, but he ain't told us whether we're going to be citizens. You're not going to be a citizen. You're just a tourist. You know what a tourist is for? Exploitation. He is bringing you there and having you fly over better beaches to go to a worse beach to be exploited. You got to fly over Jamaica. You got to fly over Riviera Maya in Mexico. You got to fly over Bahamas. You got to fly over Miami. You got to fly over. Come on. You want me to fly all the way there to be exploited? Hold on. Let's read the citizenship and get specific. Senegal, citizenship. Citizenship is based upon the Code of Nationality dated 1960, amended in 1989. By birth. Birth within the territory of Senegal does not automatically confer citizenship. There ain't no birthright citizenship. By descent, children born of Senegalese fathers, regardless of the child's country of birth. Child born of Senegalese mother and an unknown father, regardless of the child's country of birth. Let me read that one more time because it's real fast. A child born of a Senegalese father, regardless of the child's country of birth. Child born of a Senegalese mother and an unknown father, regardless. So they uplift Senegal. So once you in there, there's like this you got this heightened value because you're a citizen, and I need you to become a citizen that we don't have here, that we don't do here. Marriage. Foreigners who marry a Senegalese is granted permanent residency and can apply for citizenship by naturalization. That means you still got to go through the regular process. Let's go back one step to the by descent. I want to make sure you understood the language, and I'll tell you it through what happens here. If two Nigerians have a baby here, like Acho, that baby is an American citizen just because of birthright citizenship. What that means is there is no quintessentially elevated value for the ADOS person, male or female, in the social exchange market. Why do I need to deal with you if I can deal with my own and still get citizenship? Contrast that to Senegal, where let's look at the males particularly. If I am an ADOS woman living there, I may choose you over an ADOS male that happen to live here too in the small numbers that they are. Because my child, when he's birthed with you, becomes a citizen. You have value just in the fact of who your family is. I'm talking by naturalization. So we went through birth, descent, marriage. Let's talk about naturalization. Senegalese citizenship may be acquired upon fulfillment of the following conditions. Person has sought and received the permission of the Department of Justice for permanent residency. 1. Has resided in the country for 5 years. That's a long time. 2. Is of good moral character. That's very ambiguous. 3. And does not have a criminal record. 4. That's a lot of black men that will be ostracized from being citizens that as a result of what America did. I need you to see this thing, because they choose whether you can reside there 5 years as well. So basically, this whole naturalization is basically a way to keep you from being a citizen. I'll choose who I want to be the citizens based on ambiguous criteria. But Akon told us that this city that comes out of the tourism box, the tourism board, is some kind of Wakanda and a welcome home for us. No, it is exploitation. Dual citizenship. Listen to this cold stuff. not recognized. Hold on. Senegal does not remove a person's citizenship upon acquiring a new citizenship. If a Senegalese citizen acquires a second citizenship in the eyes of Senegalese law, the person remains a citizen of Senegal. Second citizenships will not be formally recognized until the person is legally released from their Senegalese citizenship. So they can be dual, but we can't, all kind of stuff. But Akon gonna invite us there. I'm just saying to you that this all goes into this fantastical hustle. You don't tell us the truth. You just talk about the fantasy. I don't need no room that I could get in Vegas. I need to understand what you gonna do about the fact that Senegal, Ghana, but you look over at Nigeria, all these countries had a role in the transatlantic slave trade. What are you gonna do about that, Akon? See, that's where the work is. This whole thing of going over to them governments and shaking Chinese change and getting them to believe that you can get African Americans to come over there to be exploited, that ain't it. Some describe the tubular, listen to this let's talk about the actual structures. Y'all following me? We getting into it. You getting into it. Lorraine said it's facts, Tom. Critical side, I said that's not a good idea. I'm just saying. Muat said this sounds like a scam. This is the chat. We got 1,200 people in there. Join the chat. Share this. Please support on Patreon or in the super chat. Support this channel. Some described, and this is about the rendering. Y'all seen the rendering? Y'all seen? Let me see if I got a picture of this stuff. Because I mean, when I seen it, it ain't make a lot of sense. You know, I put the color in there, but it was all kind of like. It looked unfinished. Unfinished is the word. But it was dreamy. I'll say that. But we'll talk. So, some describe the tubular structures as phallic. Social media erupted in snark. It's pure marketing to attract sun, sea, and sex enthusiasts, said Abdel Kadre Sanako, a sociologist in the city of Thebes. Others question how the buildings to be constructed with concrete, glass, copper, and steel match Senegal's warm, dry climate. Huge windows tend to invite uncomfortable heat. People are going to have the air conditioning on all day. Mamie Tall, another local architect who runs the Instagram page of Dark Lives, said, the image he is publishing, there is no consideration for anything related to Senegal, to our climate, to our materials, to our needs. I really hope it's a joke. At first, Akon said he wanted to hire an architect from the region. But honestly, I don't want to overthink my project, he said. In my research, as far as what I need in time that I needed it, I couldn't find one fast enough. He then sought out the guidance of Pierre Godeboy Atapa, an architectural advisor to presidents, didn't say an architect, who designed the African Renaissance Monument, a copper statue. So this is what we passing along. Sounding more and more like LeVar Ball and Jay Morrison. Y'all can believe what you want, but my record stands strong. At what point do we realize I just need to see, look, certain stuff add up, other stuff don't. What, Byron bought the Weather Channel? Sound right to me. There's some other stuff that I've seen that I hoped worked out. I look at the guy in Texas that's in the middle of the scandal and gave the money to Morehouse. I was hoping it worked out. It's looking more and more sketchy. The reality is that we are in a box of wealth issue. And black America can't run to no part of Africa that they try to sell as all of Africa as an answer to that. The only answer is a black politics that ignores this reality of a world politics to focus on ourselves. A black politics anchored out of ADOS. Can we talk? They said they ain't gonna give us no citizenship in Senegal. I don't want it no way. Look, think about it for a second. Let me tell you, think about this. This is a first world country. That is a developing country. In the first world country, because of what we've done and how we didn't think this thing through and we didn't really create no boundaries, you become a citizen just being born here and you get all the fruits of everything from schooling to access to medical coverage or whatever, access to even unemployment. But there, you get nothing and they don't want to let you be a citizen. But you can come there for tourism. They'll let you come for tourism. We're going to get into how many shots you need. You need the malaria medicine and the hepatitis shot, and there's a lot of shots. When you go to the top of Africa and the bottom of Africa, you ain't got to take no shots. South Africa, up there with Egypt and all that. But that middle part, they got the yellow fever in there too. We going to talk about that because when you get in the water and all that, we got to deal with all this. And I'm not saying this as some kind of spooky conspiracy. This is the CDC. See, the problem is we don't travel, so we just see it as a place. But if you ain't been to Africa, you don't understand what it's like for one part of the city to get light all day and another not to get none. He is building a building that will need air conditioning all day. Do you think that the townsmen will still get their light bill paid? Or are we only going to be concerned about the most expensive tourists that come to that building? Because this is for profit. Akon need to understand you can't do it all at once. And also, maybe you just don't understand what you're talking about. You done missed deadlines. I'm seeing this thing because we done allowed this man to run around and Washington Post to cover this. We should have shouted all this down. Just like we should have shouted down when he told us that we need to forget about slavery. Rapper Akon reveals plans for the futuristic $6 billion city that he will build in Senegal, modeled after Black Panther's Wakanda. Think about this. We old, grown people, 30 and 40 years old, and this man talking about he going to build a Lego city like Wakanda. Wakanda is a fictional country. Hold on, Wakanda, because I need y'all to understand what he's saying. Wakanda, officially known as Kingdom of Wakanda, is a small, isolationist, landlocked country located in Africa, surrounded by mountain ranges and a thick forest. Millions of years ago, a meteorite made of vibranium, the strongest substance in the universe, struck the continent of Africa, affecting the plant and life around it. And when the time of man came, 5 tribes settled on it and called it Wakanda. Ain't nothing about no tourist city from Chinese money with bad buildings that look like they're going to need air conditioning all day got anything to do with Wakanda, the fictional country built out of vibranium. Please stop playing on black ignorance about travel and global realities and buildings and art just to build yourself. We have to start to ask the question, did you become a rapper because you like to sing, or did you become a rapper to be able to sell that branding and that connection to ADOS to these African countries? Is that your doorway back and forth? And if that's the case, we just need to shut this door. Can I talk today? Yeah, Divine. Divine said I went and got the map. Yeah, I went and got the map. It's East Africa. So Wakanda's on East Africa, landlocked. Senegal is West Africa. It's on the Atlantic Ocean. And he trying to look. You better. Let me tell you like this. Let me say how he really should do this. He's better off marketing this in Beijing. Figure out if you can get some Chinese over there. We got enough beaches around us. And we don't need to wait till 2036. I don't know what this man's. We don't need that long. All we need you to do is just stop talking about us. Stop talking about that we don't have no home and that we need to come to Africa, and let us be us. Because we are trying to do a body of politics here that you make problems for. I want to talk. So rapper Akon reveals plans for the futuristic $6 billion city that he will build in Senegal, modeled after Black Panther's Wakanda. The solar-powered Akon City will offer hotels, a university, hospitals, business, and leisure centers, including a casino, as well as movie studios, all featuring futuristic designs by architect Hussein Bakari, with African sculptures as the inspiration. And then they got a picture and they try to show it next to Wakanda. Wakanda got real buildings though. I mean, at least the rendering got real buildings. I don't know what y'all got. Y'all just built, and I don't even know why that middle building got to be there. As he was growing up in the U.S. state of New Jersey, where his family moved when he was 7, Akon ran into a lot of African Americans that didn't really understand their culture. So he's going to tell us that we just don't understand our culture. We're culturalists, and we need him to get us back to Senegal. Senegal. As you come in from Africa, America, or Europe, or anywhere in the diaspora, and you feel like you want to visit Africa, we want Senegal to be your first stop. So all of this is about making Senegal the first stop in Africa. Man, come on, man. He said the project would cost $6 billion, but would not name the principal investors because of confidentiality clauses. We are still talking with partners and investors, Akon said, adding that local investment, no matter how small or how big, would be welcome. The town will initially cover 55 hectare-acres or 135 acres, but grow to 500 hectare-acres by the end of the decade, with plans for artificial islands and a marina that can accommodate cruise ships. There have even previously been reports that the city would trade in cryptocurrency, Akon. So we walking through this thing. This article is September 2020. So I went and looked up Senegal, and they had a lot of deaths at the beach, y'all. I'm just telling you, it's dangerous here how Dakar's beaches exact a deadly toll. In the middle of the afternoon, almost every day of Senegal's summer holiday, hundreds of young people descend on the beaches around the capital, Dakar, which sits on a peninsula jutting into the Atlantic. They wrestle in the sand playing football and leapfrog. But this year, going to the beach is exacting a deadly toll. This is 2018. According to the city's firefighters, 40 people have drowned in the last 3 weeks of the holidays. Many have drowned in areas where swimming is banned, but the ban is not enforced. So they ain't got no lifeguards or nothing. They just out there swimming in the dangerous Atlantic. But we gonna go there. We gonna jump right over Jamaica. When they weren't home by 1 a.m., however, the family got really worried after a fruitless night searching hospitals and police stations. They found the 2 bodies washed up on the beach. They were not the only ones who drowned there that night, said Mbaka Dingaka Nidie. There were 11 deaths this weekend alone. So it's a lot. And part of the reason they're dying is it's overcrowded, they say. So it's overcrowded before he built this city. There. What you think it's going to look like after he built this city and whether the city is functional? I'm just saying. I just want to get into it, talk about it. Because I went to the CDC website and I got the map of yellow fever. It cuts off right at Senegal. Yellow fever is a disease where some people will develop yellow fever illness with initial symptoms including sudden onset of fever, chills, severe headache, back pain, general body aches, nausea, vomiting, fatigue. A few people will develop more severe forms of disease. For 1 out of 7 people who have initial symptoms, there will be a brief remission that may last only a few hours, followed by a more severe form of the disease, yellow disease, high fever, yellow skin, jaundice, bleeding, shock, organ failures. Yellow fever, there is no medicine to treat or cure infection from yellow fever. I'm reading it because this is the stuff you need to know when you start understanding that this is what he's going during coronavirus, he's going to pitch this as tourism. But we can't be no citizens though. Senegal. This is the Senegal page on the CDC website. These are the shots you need. I talked about this earlier. I want everybody to understand what kind of shots you need. You got to get the measles shot. You got to get the hepatitis A shot. You got to get a typhoid shot. Make sure you think about the hepatitis B shot. You got to take the medicine for malaria, because if you forget the medicine for malaria, then all the other stuff could just not even matter because malaria is so deadly. You got to do a lot of stuff to go visit as a tourist to Senegal. This is according to the CDC. He's not telling you a whole truth. That's all I'm saying. Now, I'm not saying I don't wish by some magic way that he got this done. But no matter what he does, the Chinese own the city. I need you to see and understand how problematic that is. You are trading one white master for a Chinese one. How's that better? How is this better? How is this? You're facilitating a form of neo-colonialism and selling it as Wakanda power. Can we get into the discussion that nobody else want to talk about? In addition, I don't believe you can get it done. You're just not functional. I'm sorry. Everything you've done I'm looking at this stuff and I'm reading and I'm just trying to believe. I want to believe, y'all. Don't y'all want to believe? But I go to the website and it's in broken English, y'all. God, the website was in broken English. I'm going to read it to you and then maybe you read it different And then I want to compare it to another $1 billion project, SoFi Stadium with the Rams. And I'm going to read you the difference to show you what's supposed to be in that paragraph. Numbers, deadlines, what's going to actually happen once it's built. None of that is in this paragraph, the opening paragraph. Vision. Akon City, and this is right off the website, aconcity.com, I believe. You can go read it yourself. You can read along. Akon City, it is Senegal rivalry futuristic development to become the beacon of innovation and human development by providing the best education solution to lead the economy of the country, creating the most revolutionary industry, rewarding Senegalese hard work for making Senegal the leading country in technology innovation and natural resources best used by providing the best housing with at most futuristic design, comforting the daily life with mixed use of entertainment and services for all types of residential buildings, social, middle class, and high end. That's one sentence. That is one sentence. It had no numbers. It had no timelines. It wasn't even a sentence. It was incoherent. And it didn't make no sense. And if you can't get that sentence right, in what world do I believe that you could build a city in the middle of Africa during COVID? Come on, man. Stop telling us anything. I want to compare it, though. Let me compare it, let me compare it to, and this is just, you in this level. I mean, you Akon. You Akon. Come on. SoFi Stadium is an unprecedented and unparalleled sports and entertainment destination being built in Inglewood, California by the Los Angeles Rams owner Chairman E. Stanley Kroenke. Period. The first indoor-outdoor stadium to be constructed, SoFi Stadium, will be the home of the Los Angeles Chargers and Los Angeles Rams when it opens in summer 2020. Period. That is a deadline. The state-of-the-art stadium reimagines the fan experience and will host a variety of events year-round, including the Super Bowl in 2022, the College Football Championship game in 2023, and the opening and closing ceremonies of the Olympic Games in 2028. Located on the site of the former Hollywood Park racetrack, the stadium is the centerpiece of a 298-acre mixed-use development featuring retail, commercial office space, a hotel, residential units, and outdoor park space. Akon need to hire the person. You got $6 billion. He need to hire the person that wrote that paragraph to write his. But you got to have stuff to tell him. You got to be able to tell us what events are going to be there now. You got to be able to tell us why people need to come there. You got to be able to tell us why we need to come to Senegal. And just banking on the fact that ADOS people need to come home ain't good enough. Stop using us as your mule and create your own. That is the problem. The only reason your city is in the news is because of us. We built you. We built your identity. You are trading on that in all the wrong ways. Go back home and don't be Akon, be Adebayo, or whatever, your full name. I need you to see it. They playing with us, y'all. Akon City. Akon is officially the owner of a city in Senegal. Akon City, Senegal. Yup, it's a real thing. But hold on. Last month, Akon told Nick Cannon on Power 106 that the city will be built in separate stages. It's a 10-year building block, so we're doing it in stages. We started construction in March of 19, and stage 2 is going to be in 2025. While everyone is happy that Akon has started a city, there are some questions to be raised. The city is expected to cost $2 billion. $2 billion. So now it's 6, but it was 2, which he probably doesn't have. The answer for where the money is coming from is the Chinese government. The Chinese government has rapidly increased its funding to African countries, and the reasons are being called into suspicion. There are people who believe China is loaning this money with the belief that African countries will not be able to pay back all the money, and thereby China will own the land they loan money out for and buy back the land that they invested in and own this city. Golly. If he ain't leading us back down the same path that we've been complaining about, I'm just telling y'all, like, at worst, he just don't get the city done. At best, he get the city done and it ain't done right. And at the end of the day, he got to give it to the Chinese, and the Chinese own a part of Senegal because of Akon. But he telling us that we don't know and that we need to let go. So Akon told DJ Vlad, Akon on Black Americans' views of slavery. You just got to let go. In Senegal, we kind of overcome the thought of slavery. We don't even think about it. He said during an interview with Vlad TV. The only time we think about it, honestly, is when we're going tours on Goree Island. Outside of that, people have lived and moved away beyond the concept. I don't know if Goree Island is a slave island. It's nice to be the people who sold people into slavery and you don't think about it. And this is why we should never visit you for tourism. One, you're not prepared to recognize, apologize, and pay reparation and also give us full citizenship. But two, you don't deserve a goddamn dollar from us. And I don't believe we should have bought your CDs. I'm saying this to you because what you see is he's telling you have a Russian man, as I believe Vlad is Russian, interviewing a Senegalese man about American descendants of slavery and whether what he thinks about it. I don't need to know what he thinks about it, and I don't care. And it's disrespectful to ask him. I see his answer doesn't seem to understand that you're not ADOS. Gate up now. And so this happens less than a month before this city. This city has nothing to do with us. Let me say it again. This city has nothing to do with us. There is no celebration in Akon building an exploitation city in Senegal for ADOS people that live in America, are suffering through COVID, have unemployment that hasn't been paid, need to deal with the fact that they drive Uber, have a child in college they can't pay for. This means nothing for us. But Akon been running around doing all kind of weird stuff, you know. How many of y'all know that Akon is a political strategist? Akon joins Brock Pierce's presidential campaign as a chief strategist. He was this election 2020. I've always known Brock Pierce to be a stand-up guy. Akon said he's a real person, people's person, and he doesn't operate between party lines. We share the same dream of pushing America forward for everyone without showing favoritism to one base. ADOS, we do believe in a base, and that base is ADOS, who support liberal policies and want reparations in the black agenda. This is some neutrality that we don't need. But further than that, I want y'all to see the picture of this is the dude, Crocodile Dundee. That's who he supported. He supported, let me read the background on Brock Pierce, the guy that Akon was his chief strategist, his political chief strategist. Brock Pierce is an American entrepreneur known for his work in the cryptocurrency industry. That don't sound that bad, right? We don't know what that means. What we do know is, as a child actor, he was in Disney films, The Mighty Ducks. So he done supported the Mighty Ducks child actor for president. That's who's going to build us a $6 billion city. I'm just saying, Crocodile Dundee. I just need you to see it because all this goes into the components of who you believe in it. I just need you, look, for all the bad of it and my position on Kamala or Biden or even like Beto, somebody that got out, if he wasn't the political advisor to one of these people. He was the political advisor to the Mighty Ducks child actor. And now, less than a year later, some months later, he telling you that he gonna build a $6 billion city, and you talking to other people like that's realistic. In addition, architects have told us, as I read earlier, that the buildings that he's showing you don't make no sense in Senegal, given the weather of Senegal. No all-glass building. Can we make sense? Can we make sense? Let me just say. Mighty Ducks, laughing out loud. Oh, my God. Q Wallace said, this is priceless. Amina said, Akon is a jokey joke. I need you to see this. I'm reading the chat. When I talk about the chat, we got 1,300 people in here. We having a discussion about Black Panther, Wakanda, and also this Akon city in Senegal. They trying to tell us matters. Thank you for the fire, Shirley Murphy. Please support the channel. Support the super chat. ToneTalks.org. Akon, I don't think charities in Africa work. Guardian. There's a reason I'm reading this one. I'm reading this one right here because there's something important in this one that we didn't see, and he don't make it clear, and he continuously kind of hides out. But he said it here, and he said it back in 2015. He done took it out of his messaging now because he know this don't sell well, but it's still the truth. The project Akon Lighting Africa aims to tackle the problem using a different approach to the usual methods of NGOs in Africa. Akon and his two co-founders, Theon Yang, a Senegalese political activist, and Sambi Bafili, a Malayan entrepreneur and CEO of the solar energy company Solectra International, believe that what rural African communities need is not overseas charities, but affordable renewable energy. Sounds real good. But let's move down a little bit. Niang and Bathili bring political and economic skills to the project. Sounds tangible. But while Akon admits that his main contribution is his name and the marketing opportunities he brings. Oh, man. So this man done walked around and sold y'all on Zuckerberg. And all he is the ad man. While Akon admits that his main contribution is his name and the marketing opportunities it brings. So all he doing is just selling this name on this thing to try to get people that might have recognized his name from songs 10 and 15 years ago to believe in this thing so that he can take that back to investors as the potential tourists that will be attracted and then try to get this money to build this place. And come on, man, it's a lot. The founders have already made deals with the government of 16 states, and we operate in 25 by the end of the year. Next year, they're not operating in 25. I read 14. So they So we never get the underperformance, because I read something that like yesterday, because they took me down a rabbit hole with this. This was a rabbit hole. You think Jay Morrison was bad? I think this is worse. And so, like, you know, he said 25 back in a year from 2015. Now he in 14 today. He don't talk about all of the failures. African nations. The deals are pre-finances using a $1 billion credit line funded by international partners, including China's Jiangsu International Group. Inside Akon's plan to remake Africa and make money along the way. There's a reason why once you make money around a lot of poor people, it leads to oppression. Because you start valuing those people who can bring you the biggest profits. And those don't tend to be those poor Senegalese people. And they ain't going to be ADOS either, because we ain't got no wealth. So he teamed up with the fellow Senegalese Americans, Theon Yang, and Malian entrepreneurs, to create Akon Lighting Africa nearly 3 years ago. To foot the bill, ALA, which is the lighting thing, partnered with China's Jiangsu International, which facilitated a $1 billion credit line for the project. Akon says Jiangsu became interested in the venture after tariffs in the US and Europe made it prohibitively expensive to sell Chinese solar technology in the West. Under the agreement with ALA, Jiangsu provides solar arrays and bills African governments, allowing them to pay back the outlay in 3 to 5 years. This approach has its share of critics in the blogosphere, some of whom say that Akon is being used, perhaps knowingly, as a pawn for Chinese economic interests, but plenty in Africa think otherwise. Oh, man. The Chinese have been supporting Africa for years, he says. Frankly, it's not a relevant argument. Okay, all the people getting checks, and this is somebody in Senegal, I think. Look, we coming towards the turn of the show, and I want to start moving towards closing out, but I got to talk about this Akon. He got a cryptocurrency, and he didn't release what they call a white paper, which is, I guess, the background on it till recently. He was hiding that. But now somebody broke it down, said it don't make a lot of sense. I'll read that in a second. But also, before I do that, connecting to this Chinese thing, this article kind of explains it, but you should dig into this yourself. Africa starts to have second thoughts about that Chinese money. After years of borrowing on easy terms, many countries in the region are saddled with debt they cannot repay. And this is what Akon is essentially signing up for. He's signing up for a debt that can't be met. And the Chinese kind of set it up that way under argument so that they can be able to collect on the city and just own the city. Chinese lending to Africa dates at least to the 1960s when Mao Zedong channeled arms and training to rebels fighting for independence from European colonial powers. The support was limited because China was as poor as many African countries, but has since grown into an economic superpower in need of new markets and raw materials and seeking to boost its global political standing. In Africa, Beijing was eager to fill the vacuum left when U.S. and European interest in the continent waned following the end of the Cold War. Governments were hungry for loans not tied to austerity programs imposed by Western financial institutions, and China was quick to approve credit. With scant concern about the money going to regimes accused of corruption or human rights violations. For China, as the newest power on the block, the only region of the world that was uncontested was Africa. So they just gave you money because you were the last choice. Non-disclosure clauses mean many loans escape public scrutiny, raising fears of money ending up in the pockets of corrupt officials or middlemen. A Hong Kong businessman known as Sam Pa, believed to have brokered various multi-billion-dollar deals in Africa, was detained in 2015 as part of an anti-corruption campaign in China. Pa, opaque business empire, in part financed by Chinese state-run banks. So these are the kind of, Akon has non-disclosures. That's why he can't release names. So you have a lot of questionable things going on, and this is the issue. I mean, because we've talked about colonialism, but if this is just another form of it, I don't understand how you celebrate any of it. So somebody else need to find their home too, and that's called Akon. Maybe I'll interview with V-Lad and come up with something and say, those Senegalese people need to find their home because they're giving their country away. I wouldn't do that though. That's disrespectful. It would be disrespectful for me to go interview with a Russian white man and tell that Russian white man that Akon is giving away Senegalese people's money and they need to come home to ADOS in America. That's just ignorant. You don't do stuff like that. And somebody need to teach Akon not to. So he also has this foundation, Akon Foundation. As part of Akon's vision for a better world, the Akon Foundation exists to empower young entrepreneurs, first in Africa, and as we grow, rising economies, man. I don't even know. The brothers. And it's got him and then a bunch of white actors. I don't know, white people. So you can go to the Akon Foundation. This is connected to the crypto coin, same name. And it's him and a bunch of white folk. So, I don't know. Maybe y'all can explain this thing. Because I'm just slowing it down because we need to all understand this thing. Because, it's a lot of people talking and telling us that we need to go home when we got a home. We need to be focused on a black agenda, on reparations, on making the demands that we haven't seen in a lifetime for ourselves and for our children. We don't need to be focused on nobody else's tourism. Again, we can't be citizens of a developing country, right? It don't make no sense. So, is Akon City and Akon just a dream? Here's why the real-life Wakanda may never happen. Akon City will be powered by Akon, a digital currency named after the locked up and lonely singer. So this singer is going to name a whole city after himself. Akon will purportedly be a trusted digital currency that will stimulate revenue generating opportunities, which will support and empower youth entrepreneurship, economic stability, and growth across Africa and the world. It's just wild talk, man. Because, again, his project is birthed out of the tourism box, the tourism board or whatever. That's not the right board. Akon has kept us in the dark on this, and it's not because he hasn't been asked about it. In an appearance last year, he was asked why he has not yet released a concrete plan on how the city will operate. His response, I come with the concepts and let the geeks figure it out. In addition to the lack of white paper, the white paper has since come out. I'll read that in a second, some of it. Akon has also missed some of the milestones it has put up so far. Akon has missed some of the milestones. Akon has pledged to release the token in July of 18, a deadline he has now missed by 2 years. Granted, developing a functional digital currency is a tough ask. However, Akon has failed to keep his fans on the loop on the progress, and this void has been filled with all manner of theories. With huge pledges but little tangible effort, the project has shifted focus to the big picture and the incredible future that could be if everything went according to the plan. Demoy Robertson, the project marketing advisor in the interview, stated, the key thing we're focused on is getting the public, potential users, and investors to understand just how important Akon is and the size of the opportunity. So we just gonna drum up a bunch of interest, but we ain't got nothing real yet. Grammy-nominated artist Akon releases the white paper for Akon. The white paper emphasizes Akon's network as a convenient method for exchange of various African currencies, including mobile minutes. So they're going to let you put your minutes, your boost minutes, onto a coin so you can trade it. I only got 13 minutes. Can I use that to buy some water? The document describes the project as a cryptocurrency designed for entrepreneurs in the rising economies of Africa and beyond, with a mission statement to unlock the potential of the world's largest growing workforce. This is a lot of weird talk. We have so many currencies in Africa. A lot of them are unstable and most of them are untrusted. It got to the point where the day-to-day African people don't even use the currencies anymore. They're using their cell phone minutes and credits as a way of trading for basic goods like produce, fish, fruits, and things on the market. Slow down. So the place that they trying to tell us is better than this place, they using cell phone minutes to buy fish. Make it make sense for me. I'm just saying to you because I'm looking at so many people not understanding. Again, Africa is a continent. Senegal is a country. Tell me about Senegal and why I need to go there. Tell me about the diseases, the deaths on the water. Tell me about the tourism. Tell me about the slavery. If you ain't telling me all of that, then it ain't no home. It's just you projecting a home to create a hustle on me. So this article on the Medium, you can go read it on your own. It's called We Read we read Akon's white paper so that you don't have to. So that and what in it, they at first they was trying to be decent to him. Then they got down and they said, besides that, the bulk of the Akon white paper involves the same classic preambles we find in others, describing the history of cryptocurrency, the increasing adoption of blockchain problems with current financial systems, etc. Strangely, anytime you see strangely in the middle of a document on finance and stuff, enough, it repeatedly mentions how it will give brands more access to consumers within Africa, which almost sounds like something out of the dystopian Librem white paper. Facebook's cryptocurrency. Facebook's cryptocurrency. There's even a page with a Venn diagram where there's one of the three important elements. How it is that Akon will stay true to the original vision and purpose of cryptocurrencies as being decentralized and protecting identity is not mentioned in the white paper. His white paper is just general and just running around. Akon running around. And I need you to see that you can't let nobody running around tell you that you ain't standing on your square. And I look at this whole discussion, I look at the lights, I look at the Wakanda, and I ask the question, when will we stop allowing these people to step on our square? I don't want to see a pinky toe on our square. Go build your city and good luck. All I know is at the end of the day, you can't ask me to come there as no tourist and sell it to me through no Marvel Wakanda. Through no Marvel Wakanda that was built by ADOS men, that was sculptured and created to tell an identity story about ADOS life. I just wanted to come to you because they're telling us a lot of nonsense. Again, I say condolences to Chadwick Boseman and his family. You know, died way too soon, made so many great projects. But I also say, ain't no Wakanda in no Akon City. This is Tone Talks. Please go to tonetalks.org, subscribe and donate. Share this video. Let's have the discussion. Let's keep it going because ain't nobody else doing it like we doing it.